Welcome back. I also sat down with another presidential candidate, Jonathan Gunu Taidi. He graduated from the Faculty of Law of the University of Jos Plateau State in 1999. After attending the law school, he was called to the bar in 2001. His flair for humanitarian services saw him gravitate towards pro bono cases, mostly for awaiting trial inmates. He subsequently ventured into full-time legal practice. J.G. Taidi, as his admirers know him, has held many positions within the bar. He served as the General Secretary of the MENA branch, after which he later became the branch chairman. He also served as the General Secretary of the bar from 2018 to 2020. He was appointed a notary public in 2014. He was also appointed a member of the Body of Benchers in November 2020. Here's our chart.
To start with, is a misconception that other bodies can speak while the NBA is speaking on the matters that are before the bar. I say this because under the NBA Constitution, there's no rule for body of benchers. There's no rule for body of senior advocates. So I do not understand from where their intervention is arising. That is on the one hand. But on a serious note, the legal profession is the conscience of society. We must get it right. For so many years, there was no intervention on behalf of the public because we were busy on other things that were not relevant to promoting the rule of law. Thank God, Olumide Akwata came in 2020. He has been able to turn on the volume. By the grace of God, when I become president, I'm going to loud that volume. That is what I'm bringing on the table to start with. To say enough of issuing statements, we must follow those statements with action. And I will lead from the battlefield, from the front.
What are your specific plans to ensure discipline and protect the integrity of the bar? Because especially where senior lawyers are concerned, it seems like the NBA is slow when it comes to discipline.
From my experience as General Secretary, it does appear that we're here to get it right. The processes of instilling discipline I agree with you, very slow. And somehow from 2020, it's even been slower. This is because the CJN, my lord, the CJN came up with a new rule which has now taken the entire responsibility and excluded the NBA.
The former CJN.
The immediate past CJN, yes. And now the Body of Benchers is unable to deal with the issue. Now, at the bar, we had the opportunity of sifting, playing the role of investigating those petitions, and those have been taken away. Now, the general impression out there is that we're shielding our colleagues who are subject of discipline. I think we can do a lot more better. One, we'll go back to the rules, let the CJN issue the guidelines, the practice direction to fast-track issues of disciplinary issues. The other aspect of it is there are so many pending appeals that have to do with discipline of lawyers. Appeals lie from the Body of Benchers to the Supreme Court. And you cannot have the same queue. They join the same queue. So how do we restore public confidence in this process? It means that we have to go back and find a way of fast-tracking those proceedings so that we can restore our integrity in the public space, as well as do better in terms of service delivery.
Female lawyers are underrepresented in the legal profession, especially in litigation. Many female lawyers are also looking outside of the profession to other career paths. Then add on to that the issue of sexual harassment in the profession. Women have complained about being victims of sexual harassment. I know that the NBA has come up with a policy document, but how are you going to address these issues if you do become president of the bar?
When I do become president, we're going to on the one hand, we're going to deliberately instill confidence in our colleagues that are in skirts, so that they can compete favorably with their male counterparts. On the other hand, we must bring this impunity to an end. There must be very deliberate steps to show a good example to those that have no business remaining where, no matter who they are, once they run foul of those, in fact, create infractions on some of those, like harass our colleagues sexually, make example of them, and I can assure you that others will sit up who have similar tendencies will sit up.
What are your plans to help young lawyers if you are elected to lead the bar?
When I become president by the grace of God, one of the areas to start with is to deliberately expand the practice space. Today it is choked. On the average, there are between 8,000 to 10,000 new entrants annually into the profession. And we cannot accommodate this number with the existing structure, within the existing structure. So deliberately we must go out. And one of the areas we want to engage is, take for instance, we have 774 local governments. The bar must be willing to contribute to the growth of democracy at that level. So we go to the National Assembly and pursue an amendment to the Constitution to provide for a functional legal department in each of those local government councils across the country. That means that you're going to create job opportunities there with a minimum pay package for all those that are at that sphere. We also go back to the Companies and Allied Matters Act. There are companies that are doing a lot of business and in turn not engaging any legal practitioners. So we can have a minimum to say every company with say minimum turnover of 20 million naira per annum must engage the services of one legal practitioner. We must also go back to the law too, but the bar can push these reforms through to deliberately create those opportunities for our members. So that, and then in addition, we can train our colleagues on emerging areas of law. All we need is exposure. After it's there, and so many other emerging areas of law, cryptocurrency, and so on and so forth. So that our members have diverse areas that they can veer into.
What is the unique thing about you that is different from the other candidates? And why should your colleagues trust you with their votes?
I have been in the NBA NEC since 2008. So I'll call myself a repository of some sort of all the past resolutions of the NBA NEC. Now, like it happens in Nigerian society, committees are put in place, a lot of resources, time goes into them, and then once the administration is coming to an end, the outcome put in the shelf, and most of them are gathering indoors. So we need to go back to some of those fantastic work and put them together, and it's time to implement them simultaneously for the benefit of our members. We cannot say every administration that had come in the past had nothing to offer. There must be the good part that you leverage on to continue to deliver deliverables to our members. So I'm going to emphasize on those things that we have not got right. Let's see how we can fix them. Those that have been fantastic recommendations, we now see how we implement them. So we don't keep experimenting every 2 years with new committees, and then you go out again and then a new committee is put in place. So we must go back and holistically dust them up and implement them for the benefit of our members. So that's what I'll be doing new, because I have had the privilege. None of them had been in NEC from 2008 like I have been, unbroken to date. So that stands me out. My colleagues also will see my disposition to the issues of bedeviling our country. You see, the other candidates have baggage of titles. I don't have any titles that will be a hindrance to delivering to our members, because titles can hinder you from speaking truth to power, whether we like it or not. Olumide Kwata has delivered because he has no such titles. I am here again to say, look, no matter whose ox is God, we must speak truth to power. So that's what I have got in addition to my background as the most experienced.
And that's the program this week. Please feel free to share your thoughts on any of the content we featured today. If you missed any part of it, you can find the video and past episodes on our YouTube channel. I am Shola Sheyeli. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.